you to West Carleton Christian Assembly. I'm Pastor Mark Redner, and it is a privilege to talk to you today about God's doing here in Kinburn, Ontario, part of the city of Ottawa. We're right on the west end of Ottawa, and just also south of Iron Prior. And I want to welcome you and to tell you the story about what God's been doing over the last number of months here and pouring out His Spirit. We've seen a revival like never before, and God is moving. We've been a lot of people praying and pressing into the Lord for such a time as this. And I'm so excited because that time is now. This is a now time where we're seeing God move upon the earth like never before. I pray that as you watch this video, that you will be challenged to say, God, I want you to move in my area. I want you to move in my church. Because I believe that what's happening here in Canada's capital, in the Ottawa Valley area, is about to spread throughout the nation and the world. So it is my privilege to have with me this morning is Jimmy Fraser. And this man is a miracle from God in part of this revival. And I want just, Jimmy, you came here on a Friday night. What night was that you came?
Friday night in November.
Last November, 2008.
A gentleman had been coming into my service. I run a service station. And a gentleman had been coming in and asking me to go for a healing service because I was diagnosed with cancer.
You were diagnosed with cancer before November. When were you diagnosed with cancer?
Back in October.
Yes.
I was diagnosed with cancer. And Paul LaFram boys, who was a member of the West Carleton Christian Assembly here, came into the service station and asked me to go for a Friday night healing service. He said, we have one every Friday night at 7 o'clock. And I said, yeah, I'll be there. And I never went. And then he did come back numerous times and asked me to go.
But each time, here's Paul's asking you, you got cancer, and he's saying, I want you to come on this Friday night. But each time you're saying no.
No. And the doctors had told me like I had cancer in my tongue and my tongue was going to go. My adenoids, my tonsils, and my lymph nodes in my neck would have to be removed.
What did the doctors say to you in that time when you had a condition on your tongue for a while, I guess?
Yes. What happened was my wife was down to the doctor. She hadn't been feeling good and she was getting a shot of Demerol. And we knew the doctor, and he asked, after he finished working with Linda, he asked me how I was feeling. I said, I was feeling fine. And Linda says, no, he's not. Tell the doctor, show the doctor your mouth. So the doctor looked in my mouth and he said, oh my gosh, he said, this is serious, Jimmy. You've got to get to a specialist right away. So within the day, I was heading into the city. I went with a specialist. It was 2 women at the time. And they said it was more than they can do. I'd have to go to another specialist. So 2 days later, I went to him. And he says, oh boy, this is more than I can handle.
Wow.
And he said, you have got to go to Dr. Odell. And then, boy,
This was a doctor, a specialist, the head of...
Yeah, the cancer unit in Ottawa.
The cancer unit in Ottawa.
General Hospital.
Okay.
He's the top dog when it comes to ear, nose, and throat.
So you went to him.
I went to him. And he looked in my mouth. And he examined me. And then another guy went up through my nose with a camera. And Dr. Odell came over to me right in front of me, and he just said it's 100% cancer. And it's such a feeling when you've been diagnosed with cancer because everybody knows somebody that's had cancer, and it's a devil disease. It's an awful disease. And I was really down, and I said to the doctor, I said, how do you know it's cancer? I said, you haven't even done a biopsy yet. He says, I don't have to. I'm telling you, it's 100% cancer. He said, I've been doing this for 31 years.
Wow.
So they scheduled me within the week for a biopsy, which I went and had the biopsy. And they called me and I went down for a visit with him, and I went in his office and he sat down in front of me and told me it is cancer. He said, you have cancer, it's 100%. And
must have been devastating for you and your family. And
it's unbelievable. My heart just sunk. My heart just sunk. I couldn't believe it.
It's like, and how old are you? At
51.
At 51, and you're getting this news.
Yeah. And I'll never forget my wife and I went out, and after the doctor diagnosed me, we got in the elevator and we both just bawled. Like we just bawled. And that's when I've always believed in God, but never practiced it. I thank God for everything in my life, but I probably haven't been to church other than baptisms for the last 30 years, That was the only time I went to church.
So relationship with God was just something sort of off in a distance.
It was far away.
Far away.
Far away. Mark, it was far away.
But here you are in just the worst situation imaginable. I mean, cancer, this is it, it's over.
It's over.
And it's something that's gone on, and the doctor's saying it's 100% cancerous. And your family's devastated. And all of a sudden you got this guy, Paul Lafamboise, he's bugging you to get to a healing service.
Yes.
And it's still, even though it's you got cancer and this horrible news, you're still saying no, Paul, or
no, that's what I was just saying.
But
I'll go.
How many times did he ask you?
Oh, quite a few. And he kept coming. He was persistent.
He was persistent.
He was persistent.
You hear that? Be persistent.
He was persistent.
I think it was at least 7 times Paul asked you.
Yes.
And then finally, your wife gets connected with you. Oh, thank God for wives.
Yes.
And what did she say to you after about the 7th time?
Well, I went home that Friday night after Paul had been in, and I said, I'll go, Paul. Yeah. And I had no intention of going.
No intention.
None.
You were
whatsoever of going.
You're just trying to make him feel better.
He's a good customer. I didn't even know he was religious. I never knew that. And I said, well, I'll go, Paul. I'll go. So I come home that night and I sat down and had supper, and I was telling my wife about it.
Yes.
And Linda looked at me. I can still remember it. She says, what have you got to lose? Why don't you go? What have you got to lose?
That's it.
And I said, okay, we'll go. We'll go. So I
thank God for wives. So you got ready.
Thank God for my wife, yes. She's been a rock.